What's up, you guys? Sean Ross at FightfulWrestling.com. We're here to talk about May the 4th. Be with you at Saturday, May 4th at the Finch Creek Fieldhouse in Noblesville, Indiana. And we're talking to the man that made it happen, Kevin Fertig, also known as Kevin Thorn. Kevin, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. And thank you for having me to talk about this special event, man. It's kind of near and dear to my heart and near and dear to a lot of dads that were on the football team that we all kind of came together and decided to do this. So it's one of those things, man, where we just want to give back. And this young man was on our football team, and what better way to do it than with a wrestling event?
Yeah. Amazing what you guys are doing, and you brought together quite a few stars for this. Hardcore Holly, James Storm, who just appeared at the NWA show, Billy Gunn of AEW, Al Snow, and perhaps the most interesting name, you've got him front and center on this poster, Monty Brown. How did this come about?
Man, Monty's been a friend of mine for a long time. After he left WWE and stuff, for a bit, we reach out and talk to each other, every couple months and stuff, and have stayed in touch. And actually, Monty's, I guess, godson, and one of his best friends, his son plays on our team, our fifth and sixth grade football team. So, when all this was coming about, I talked to my good friend Kevin Myers, who's Monty's good friend and everything else, and it was like, hey man, let's get on him. Let's get him out of retirement one day only. Everything else, and get him down here for this. And so, to me, it's just a special moment because leading into Mania and stuff, we were tied at the hip. Me and him had some of the best times and some of the coolest memories ever, and it only made sense to kind of, have him a part of this with me, side by side, helping me, raise money for this event,
He's one of the names that we get asked about the most, of like, what happened to him? How's he doing? And he'll pop up, like a photo will pop up every few years of him looking like he's in great shape. Did you meet any kind of resistance from him, or was he just like, yeah, let's do this?
No, man, as soon as I told him what it was for and everything else, and we've been both looking for excuses to get him down here anyway, because I want him, just see my son, and Kevin Myers wants him, hang out with his and stuff like that, see family and everything else, and it just all worked out, So he was like, "Yep, let's do it. Let's figure it out." He came with bells on, believe it or not.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those names that after he makes this appearance, he's probably going to get a lot of attention. He's probably going to get a lot of people reaching out to him. And I think that for the cause, it speaks to the cause that you all are doing this for, that somebody who hasn't been involved in wrestling in 11 years was just like, yeah, sign me up. Let's do this immediately. What type of reaction have you got from the community of Noblesville or the surrounding area about this event?
Man, they've been huge. The funny thing is that it's in Noblesville, Indiana, which is right next to Fishers, but this is a Fishers football team. But the Finch Creek Fieldhouse it was just a brand new building that was just built. It's got like 8 basketball courts inside, and then it's got 2 indoor softball fields that meet up together with turf and stuff. When I was looking for buildings, trying to figure out, a building big enough to hold this, do this right, and everything else, it was there. And when I presented it to them, they didn't blink an eye, about hosting us, and stuff like that. So it works perfect. I mean, it's, kind of centrally located to everything. And I mean, on this event, it's going to be good because it's a lot of non-wrestling fans. We're going to have to ease them into it a little bit, but it's definitely going to leave a taste in their mouth, in searching for more wrestling, which I think is always cool, is when, you can take this out to the community, get them involved, and then, show them, hey man, this is what professional wrestling is. This is, it's about, bring your family, having a great time, being introduced to something that's going to take you on a roller coaster ride, and at the end of the night, you feel like you've seen something that's just, out of this world.
Now, the question that's on everyone's mind, what is the chance that Dwayne Finley will eat a crucifix bomb from you, then a pounce from Monty Brown on this show? Can we make that happen? He'll complain about his back being jacked up before, but it doesn't matter.
So long story short about Dwayne Finley, because he's in this kind of this group of guys that's with us and stuff. It was his 40th birthday on Saturday. Saturday, yeah. Yep. So long story short, I think I already gave him a crucifix bomb that consisted of 2 silver Patron shots back to back. I think he almost hit the table and hit his head just off of that.
It was like a shock to my world. For those who don't know, Dwayne Finley, an outstanding MMA journalist, really no connection to pro wrestling whatsoever. So when I see that Kevin Thorn, famous pro wrestler, and Dwayne Finley, guy who has probably never watched pro wrestling, were buddies, I was like, what's going on here? How did this come about? But his son's also an athlete as well. But here's the hoping we can get Dwayne Finley beat up.
It could happen. Actually, you know what? I think Dwayne has actually been in a wrestling ring before with wrestling and got beat up.
Yeah, I think he has.
I think that's actually already happened. So, I mean, it would just be like a repeat of that, which, I mean, wouldn't be bad either.
Now that you mention that, I do believe, I think I remember him posting the video, actually.
Yeah. So.
Unbelievable.
That's hilarious.
Anybody that follows you on social media has seen you get into like some insane shape. How have you been able to balance all that with, your day job and with wrestling and promoting an event like this? A lot of people don't necessarily have that balance. How do you find it?
Man, I'll be honest. It's been hard this past 6 months. I've tried. I don't think I'm as good as I was 2 years ago by any means. The real estate thing has taken off for me huge. And I've been blessed beyond belief. And then, with promoting the show, I think everybody thinks it's a lot easier than it is until they get involved in it. And then you're like, holy crap, I didn't know it was this much work. But at the end, when you got a guy like Brady Armstrong, a kid like Brady Armstrong, who's, battling it out every day at chemo and stuff like that, a little hard work doesn't really hurt. It's worth it in the end to make something like this happen.
I've noticed over the last couple of years as well, obviously due to your WWE stint, you're going to get compared to the likes of Gangrel. You've been working with and against him an awful lot, both on opposite sides of the ring, and you guys have teamed a couple of times over the last few years as well. What has that experience been like? Any stories being traded there about the similar gimmicks, so to speak?
Man, originally it was supposed to be me, Gangrel, and Shelley, coming back into ECW and stuff. Honestly, I still don't know why it wasn't. I think it could have been unreal. Dave Gangrel, he's, a huge friend of mine, everything else. He's always been a huge supporter. I remember when I was younger and just starting, I ended up tagging with him, and Luna was our manager, very early on, and knew I had chemistry with him then. And now just like every time we get together, it's always just fun. He's, and I tell him this all the time. He's the OG. He's the OG of the vampire gimmick. Nobody's going to do it better. I wasn't even trying to, because I knew I couldn't compete with with what, Dave Gangrel had. I was just, lucky enough to be a part of it and get to kind of follow in his footsteps. And I mean, I think it was definitely a missed opportunity, for us, not, getting to do that, because I think it would have been a whole nother, cool element to what was going on. But I mean, lately, I mean, once every couple of months, man, I get to go see him, and we either wrestle or we either, we're tagging against each other, but it's always just fun. So.
He's a great dude. I always say that a part of my childhood died the first time I got a text message from him, and it said LMAO, and I'm like, oh yeah, that vampire that I was watching when I was like 13.
Yes.
I was like, oh man.
I know the feeling. Like, yeah, it's always surreal when you get like emojis from guys, like sending out messages to all the guys this morning and stuff, just saying, hey, I want to make sure everybody's on point, all this other stuff. You guys are coming. And you get like a smiley face from Bob Holly.
Yes.
It's simply, it's kind of creepy in a way. I'm not going to lie. Bob's been one of my friends for a long time, but still it's like, here's this guy that's made a reputation of just being a complete badass, and he's sending me a, smiley face emoji, let me know he's coming.
He's done that to me a few times too. He had a problem with, he had a problem with an article I wrote, and I corrected it, and he doesn't just send the smiley face. It's the one with like the rosy cheeks too, which I'm I'm like, come on, man, come on. He's announced for this show the aforementioned Monty Brown, Billy Gunn, James Storm, yourself, Al Snow.
Yeah. And on that one too, and that was actually something I'm going to be doing tonight. Billy Gunn was coming in as a favor for me because he's already wrestling in a show pretty close to Indianapolis, and he was going to come in and just do my VIP meet and greet, and then kind of take off for the other show. And there'll be some announcements about that tonight for the people that bought the VIP. We're actually going to have to move it up about an hour just for him, because timing constraints and everything else for him to get over there is I didn't realize it was further than it possibly was when we came up with it. So we're going to make that right to those VIP guests and stuff like that. I pride myself on being a man of my word on what, what I'm presenting and stuff like that, but we're going to get that taken care of, and I'll let them know. And I pretty much have reached out to all of them anyway to let them know, but just heads up for anybody else out there.
Any other talent on this show specifically that you're looking forward to other people seeing, along with all these names that you've got highlighted?
Oh man, Al Snow always brings it with OVW. I mean, these guys in OVW are young, hungry, and are what the future holds. So I mean, I always look forward to that, and that's it's a big reason why I called Al. Number one, I wanted Al on the show, but I wanted OVW to be present too, because that's where I started and everything else, and being 2 hours down the road, the future's bright down there. So we want them. I want them up here, and I want them seen in front of, a crowd of 1,500 or more, and stuff like that, because, I know they're trained, right, and everything else. And, they know how to build a show. They know, they know their role, and stuff like that. And I mean, that to me is always huge, is trying to make sure that the next batch of guys that are going to be carrying, pro wrestling, into the future is seen and seen in a good light and for a good cause.
May the 4th be with you. It's Saturday, May 4th, Finch Creek Fieldhouse, Noblesville, Indiana. Kevin, as we wrap up, anything you want to let the people know?
If they want more information, Facebook, Brady Destroys Cancer. May the 4th be with you. At Brady, or at b.brady d.destroys c.cancer. You get the gist. It's basically BDC, and then Brady Destroys Cancer kind of in there, and stuff. And I mean, I'm just looking forward to, getting out there, giving, this Indianapolis area some cool wrestling. It gets a lot of cool wrestling, but, a little bit different. And then, just making, the Armstrongs and Brady a ton of money, to help cover some of this cost of, this thing of cancer that, seems to be taking, at least, one of every family member out there has dealt with cancer. And, we're just trying to do a small part to do what we can to, fight back a little bit against it.